Somewhere in the hills of Virginia, buried under soil that has never been touched by a shovel that knew where to dig, there is a fortune worth over $60 million in today's money, and for nearly 200 years, every single person who has gone looking for it has walked away with nothing but dirt under their fingernails and a growing suspicion that they might have wasted their entire life chasing a ghost. Some of them didn't just walk away empty-handed. Some of them lost their marriages, their savings, their sanity, and in at least one documented case, their lives, all because of 3 short pages of numbers that a man nobody can even prove existed left behind almost 2 centuries ago, and to this day, not one of those pages has ever been fully solved. This is the story of the Beale Ciphers, and if you think you're smart enough to succeed where code breakers, mathematicians, treasure hunters, and even the National Security Agency have failed, stick around because by the end of this video you're going to want to book a flight to Virginia. The story begins in 1820 in a small hotel in Lynchburg, Virginia, run by a man named Robert Morris. A stranger checked in that January, a tall, sunburned, striking man who called himself Thomas Jefferson Beale. He stayed only a short while, left, and then returned 2 years later, this time leaving behind a locked iron box with strict instructions that Morris should not open it unless Beale failed to return within 10 years. Beale rode off once more, and this time he never came back. No goodbye, no explanation, no trace. 10 years passed, then 20, and Morris, an honest man true to his word, kept the box sealed the entire time, until in 1845, curiosity and a nagging sense of duty finally got the better of him, and he pried it open, only to find something far stranger than money. Inside were 3 pages, each covered top to bottom in nothing but numbers, thousands of them, arranged in dense, meaningless-looking columns, along with a letter explaining that somewhere within a 4-mile radius of Buford's Tavern in Bedford County, Beale and a small party of men had buried an almost unimaginable treasure of gold, silver, and jewels, the spoils of a secret mining expedition out west, and that the numbers, if decoded correctly, would reveal exactly where. Morris spent the next 2 decades of his life trying and failing to crack those numbers until he was an old man with nothing to show for it, and eventually he handed the mystery off to a friend who is the reason we even know this story today, because that friend cracked one of the 3 pages. Using the Declaration of Independence as a cipher key, where each number corresponded to the first letter of a specific word in the document, the second page unraveled into English, and what it described made every treasure hunter's blood run cold. Buried nearby was a staggering hoard, over 1,000 pounds of gold, silver, and jewelry, worth tens of millions of dollars by modern valuation, and the decoded page even bragged that a duplicate of the treasure's description had been placed in a separate location for safekeeping. But here is the cruel twist that has haunted codebreakers ever since. The first page, the one containing the actual location of the treasure, the page that would turn this entire legend from a story into a treasure map, has never, ever been solved. Neither has the third page, which is believed to list the names of the men entitled to a share of the fortune. For nearly 2 centuries, cryptographers have thrown everything at those 2 remaining pages, trying every conceivable key, every historical document, every mathematical trick imaginable, and the numbers have refused to give up their secret. What makes this legend so magnetic and so dangerous is that unlike most treasure stories that crumble the moment you shine a light on them, the Beale Ciphers have survived over 150 years of scrutiny from people whose entire job is to expose hoaxes, and nobody has managed to definitively prove it's fake. Yes, there are skeptics, brilliant ones, who point out strange linguistic patterns in the solved page that seem oddly modern for supposedly being written in the 1800s, who question why a supposedly uneducated frontiersman would have access to a rare early printing of the Declaration of Independence, who note that the story only ever surfaced through one single self-published pamphlet with no corroborating historical record of a Thomas Jefferson Beale ever existing at all. And yet the counter-argument has never fully gone away either, because if this was a hoax dreamed up to sell a cheap pamphlet in the 1880s, It is, without question, one of the most elaborate, patient, and ultimately unprofitable hoaxes in American history, since the man who published it died broke, and nobody involved ever cashed in on the fame or the fortune the story promised. And so the digging never stopped. For generations, men have descended on that quiet patch of Bedford County with shovels, then dynamite, then metal detectors, then ground-penetrating radar, tearing up fields, felling trees, and in some cases getting arrested for illegal excavation on private and protected land. Fortunes have been spent chasing a fortune that may or may not exist. Families have been torn apart by fathers who sold their homes to fund one more season of digging, certain that this was the year the numbers would finally break. There is something almost cruel about how close the story gets you, how one full page decodes perfectly, proving the code isn't gibberish, proving there really is a system hidden in these numbers, and then the door slams shut on the 2 pages that actually matter, as if Thomas Jefferson Beale, whoever or whatever he really was, wanted us to know just enough to keep believing, and not one letter more. So maybe you're watching this thinking the odds are impossible, that professional cryptographers with supercomputers have already thrown everything they have at this puzzle and failed, so what chance does anyone else have? But that is exactly why this story refuses to die. Because these ciphers weren't cracked by machines, they were nearly cracked by one obsessive man with nothing but candlelight, patience, and a single copy of America's founding document. And somewhere out there, the key to the other 2 pages might be sitting in another equally ordinary historical text, waiting for the right person to simply try it. Until that day comes, the treasure of Thomas Jefferson Beale remains exactly where he left it in 1822, buried in the Virginia hills, guarded not by locks or traps, but by a code that has outlasted every single person who has ever tried to break it. If you were the one holding those pages right now, would you have the patience to keep trying where everyone else gave up? Or would the numbers eventually break you too? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you want to go deeper into the strangest unsolved treasures in history, the next video on your screen is waiting for you.